that made war, going out in hosts and troops to the number of 40,000. Good. 600 men capable of bearing arms to assist the king. At that time, the children of Tarshish came again to the sons of Ishmael and made war with them. And the children of Tarshish spoiled the Amorites. And the children of Ishmael, which is the Arabs, were small in number in those days, and they could not prevail over the children of Tarshish. And the old men of Ishmael, the old men of Ishmael, of the Ishmaelites, set a record to the king of Egypt, serving officers and hosts to help us to fight against the children of Tarshish, for we have been consuming away for a long time. In other words, we done lost a lot of weight due to this famine. And Pharaoh sent Joseph and the mighty men which were with him, and also the mighty men from the king's house. And they went to the land of Havilah, to the children of Ishmael, to assist them against the children of Tarshish. And the children of Ishmael And Pharaoh sent Joseph, with mighty men and hosts. They were with him, also his mighty men from the king's house. And they went to the land of Havilah, to the children of Ishmael, slave traders. It's been the slave trading business since Genesis. And others unseen. The aging and children of Israel himself. And Joseph smote the Tishbites, and he subdued all their feet, all their land. And when the land of Tarshish was subdued, and the Tarshites ran away, and came to the border of their brethren, the children of Jacob, and Joseph, with all his mighty men and host, returned to Egypt. Returned to Egypt, not one of the men of them won. And all the reservations of the city and at the revolution of the year, in the second year of Joseph reigned over Egypt, and the Lord gave great plenty throughout the land for 7 years, as Joseph had spoken. For the Lord blessed all the produce of the earth in those days for 7 years, and they are and were greatly satisfied. And Joseph at that time had officers under him, and they collected all the land members. Wait. You should read that again. And Joseph at that time had officers under him, and they conducted all the food of the good years, or they collected all the food of the good years, and heaped up corn year by year, and they placed in treasuries for Joseph. They placed the money in the treasuries for Joseph. Now, this famine is going to make Joseph very rich. So remember what I told you in the beginning. And at any time, when they gathered the food, Joseph commanded they should bring the corn of ears and also bring in it some of the soil of the food. And any time when they did gather food, Joseph commanded that they should bring the corn in the ears, and also bring with it some of the soil of the field, that it should not spoil. And Joseph did according to this year by year. He heaped up corn like the sand of the sea for abundance. For his store was immense. They found the granaries of Joseph too, the storage granaries that he built. And they were immense, they were huge, like giant warehouses, a giant mega warehouse, like on the size scale of Walmart. You can imagine that. That's the size he had the granaries, and they was all over Egypt. And this was Joseph. And Joseph did according to this year by year. He heaped up corn like the sand of the sea for abundance. For his store was immense and could not be numbered for abundance. And also the inhabitants of Egypt gathered all sorts of food in their storage. And all the food Joseph and the Egyptians had gathered during the 7 years of plenty was secure for the land in the stores for 7 years of famine, for the support of the whole land. And the inhabitants of Egypt filled each man his store and his concealed place with corn to be supper during the famine. And Joseph placed all the food that he had gathered in all the cities of Egypt, and he closed all the stores and placed sentinels over them, guards. And Joseph's wife, Asna, the daughter of Potiphar, show you how God works. Joseph's still in the family of Potiphar, the captain of the guard. He married his wife. That's why I married his daughter. The daughter of Potiphar. Not the wife, but the daughter. Very interesting. The daughter of Potiphar bare him 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And Joseph was 34 years old when he begat them. The lads grew up, and they went in his ways and his instructions. They did not deviate from the way which their father taught them, either to the left or to the right. And the Lord was with the lads, and they grew up and had understanding and skill in all wisdom, in all affairs of government, and all the king's officers, and all the great men and inhabitants of Egypt exalted the lads, and they were brought up amongst the king's children. In the 7 years, these are rich kids now, these like billionaire kids. And the 7 years of plenty were throughout the land were at an end. And the 7 years of famine came after them, as Joseph had spoken. And the famine was throughout the land. And all the people of Egypt saw that the famine had commenced in the land of Egypt. And all the people of Egypt opened their stores of corn, for the famine prevailed over them. And they found all the food that was in their stores full of varnish, not fit to eat. And the famine prevailed, so their food rotted that they stored. And the famine prevailed, and the famine prevailed throughout the land. And all the inhabitants of Egypt came and cried before Pharaoh, for the famine was very heavy upon them. And they said unto Pharaoh, give food unto thy servants. And wherefore shall we die through a hunger before thy eyes? Even we and our little ones. And Pharaoh answered them, saying, and what for do you cry unto me? Did not Joseph command that the corn should be laid up during the 7 years of plenty, for the years of famine? And wherefore did you not hearken to his voice? And the people of Egypt answered the king, saying, as thy soul liveth, O Lord, thy servants have done all that Joseph ordered. For thy servants also gathered in all the produce of their land. during the 7 years of plenty, and laid it up with stores until this day. And when the famine prevailed over thy servants, we opened our stores, and behold, all the produce was filled with vermin, and was not fit for food. And when the king heard all that had befallen the inhabitants of Egypt, the king was greatly afraid on account of the famine, and he was much terrified. And the king answered the people of Egypt, saying, since all this has happened unto you, go unto Joseph, and do whatever he shall say unto you. Transgress not his commands. he dumped it in Joseph's lap. And the people of Egypt went forth and came to Joseph and said unto him, give unto us food, and wherefore shall we die before thee through hunger? For we gathered in our produce during the 7 years that thou didst command, and we put in the store, and thus this has befallen us. And when Joseph heard all the words of the people of Egypt, and what had befallen them, Joseph opened all the stores of the produce, and he sold it unto the people of Egypt. And the famine prevailed throughout the land. And the famine was in all countries. All countries. Told you how God uses famine. But in the land of Egypt, there was produce for sale. And all inhabitants of Egypt came unto Joseph to buy corn, for the famine prevailed over them, and all the corn was spoiled. And Joseph daily sold it to the people of Egypt, and all inhabitants of the land of Canaan, and the Philistines, and those beyond Jordan, and the children of the east, and all the cities of the land far and nigh, heard that there was corn in Egypt, and they all came to Egypt to buy corn, for the famine prevailed over them. And Joseph opened the stores of corn and placed officers over there, that they ate daily bread and sold it to the first that came. And Joseph knew that his brethren would come to Egypt to buy corn, for the famine prevailed throughout the earth. And Joseph commanded all his people that they should cause it to be proclaimed throughout the land of Egypt, saying, it is the pleasure of the king of his second and of their great men, that any person who wishes to buy corn in Egypt shall not send his servant to Egypt to purchase, but his persons. And also any Egyptian or Canaanite who shall come from any other stores from buying corn in Egypt, and shall go and sell it throughout the land, he shall die, for no one shall buy but for the support of his household. And any man leading 2 or 3 beasts shall die, for a man shall only lead his own beast. Can't hoard the food so you can make profit. And Joseph placed sentinels at the gates of Egypt, and commanded them, saying, any man who may come to buy, suffer him not to enter until his name, the name of his father, and the name of his father's father, and the name of his father's father be written down. And whosoever shall not be written, And Joseph placed signals or whatever, and any person who may not, so he's strict here. Joseph placed officers throughout the land of Egypt, and he commanded them to do all these things. And Joseph did all these things and made 3 statues in order that he might know when his brothers should come to Egypt to buy corn. And Joseph's people caused it daily to be proclaimed in Egypt according to these words and statutes which Joseph had commanded. And all inhabitants of the east and west country and all of the earth heard of the statutes and regulations which Joseph had enacted. The people coming from all parts of the earth, and all inhabitants of the east and west country, and all the earth heard of the statutes and regulations which Joseph had enacted in Egypt. And the inhabitants coming from the extreme parts of the earth came that they bought corn in Egypt day after day, and then they went away. And all the officers of Egypt did as Joseph had commanded, and they came to Egypt to buy corn. The gatekeepers would write their names and their fathers' names, and daily bring them into the evening before Joseph. And he's trying to screen for his brothers. And Jacob afterward heard that there was corn in Egypt, and he called unto his sons to go to Egypt to buy corn. For upon them also did the famine prevail. And he called unto his son and said, Behold, I hear there's corn in Egypt, and all the people of the earth go there to purchase. Now think of this, Joseph is saving all the people of the whole earth. That's what God raised him up to do, and including his family. They go there to purchase. Therefore, why will you show yourselves satisfied before the whole earth? Go you down to Egypt and buy us corn amongst those that come there, that we may not die. And the sons of Joseph hearkened to the voice of their father, and they rose up to go down. And they rose up to go down to Egypt in order to buy corn. Amongst the rest they came there. And Jacob and their father commanded them, saying, When you come into the city, do not enter the gate in one gate on account of the inhabitants of the land. And the sons of Jacob went forth, and they went to Egypt. And the sons of Jacob did all as their father had commanded. And Joseph and them spoke to each other, saying, We know that our brother Joseph went down to Egypt, and now we will seek him where we go. And if we do not find him, we will take him from his master for ransom, and if not, by force, and we will die for him. And the sons of Jacob agreed to this thing, and strengthened themselves on account of Joseph to deliver him. When they came near to Egypt, they separated from each other, and they came through the gates of Egypt. And the gatekeepers wrote their names on that day and brought them to Joseph in the evening. And Joseph read the names in the hand of the gatekeepers of the city, and he found that his brother had entered at the 10 gates of the city. And Joseph at this time commanded that it should be proclaimed throughout the land of Egypt, saying, Go forth, all ye store guards. Go forth, all ye store guards. Close all the corn stores, and let only one remain open, and those who come may purchase from it. And all the officers of Joseph did so at that time, and they closed all the stores and left one open. And Joseph gave the written causes of his brethren to him, that they set over the open store. And he said, whosoever shall come, these three to buy corn, ask his name. And when men of these names shall come before thee, seize them and send them. And they did so. And when the sons of Jacob came into the city, they joined together in the city to seek Joseph before they bought themselves corn. And they went to the walls of the harlots, and they sought Joseph in the walls of the harlots for 3 days. I bet they did, for they thought that Joseph would come in the walls of the harlots. For Joseph was very comely and well favored, and the sons of Jacob sought Joseph for 3 days, and they could not find him. And the man who was set over the open store sought for those names which Joseph had given him, and he could not find them. And the man who was set over the open store sought for the names which Joseph had given him, and did not find them. And sent to Joseph, saying, these 3 days have passed, and those men whose names thou didst give me have not come. And Joseph sent servants to seek the men in all Egypt, and to bring them before Joseph. And Joseph's servants went and came to Egypt, and could not find them, and went to Goshen, and they were not there. And went to the city of Ramses, and could not find them there. And Joseph continued to send 16 servants. And Joseph continued 16 servants to seek his brothers, and they went and spread themselves in the 4 corners of the city of the harlots, and they found him among the prostitutes. And they found the 10 men there, seeking their brother. And those 4 men took them and brought them before him. And they bowed down to him to the ground. See, remember Joseph's dream that his brothers would bow to him, and now they mocked him. Now they bowed to him. And Joseph was sitting up on his throne in his temple, clothed with princely garments. And up on his head was a large crown of gold, and all the mighty men were sitting around him. And the sons of Jacob saw Joseph, and his figure, and comeliness, and dignity, and countenance seemed wonderful in their eyes. And they again bowed to him to the ground. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but they knew him not. But Joseph was very great in their eyes, therefore they knew him not. They said, there ain't no way this could be our brother sitting up on this throne. They didn't even think about it. But see how God had elevated him. Now remember, Joseph is the type of Christ, and Christ resurrected and was seen in his power and his glory. Not as he didn't come out as the crucified Christ, not in glory. And we that follow Christ, we will get a body like Christ in power and glory. And we will rule and reign with Christ. Like I said, Joseph is our archetype of Christ and the Christians that was to come. And we will be exalted by Christ for what we did for the kingdom of heaven down here on earth. We'll be rewarded at the judgment seat of Christ. And we'll have glory greater than Joseph had even. And Joseph spoke to them, saying, from whence come you? And they all answered and said, our servants have come from the land of Canaan to buy corn, for famine prevails throughout the earth. And our servants heard that there was corn in Egypt. And they came amongst the other comers to buy corn for their support. And Joseph answered them, saying, if you have come to purchase as you say, why do you not come through the gates of the city? It could only be that you have come to spy throughout the land. Excuse him for being spied. He's going to squeeze a little pain out of him for all he went through. And they all together answered Joseph and said, not so, my lord. We are right. Our servants are not spies, though we have come to buy corn. For our servants are all brothers, and the sons of the one man in the land of Canaan. And our father commanded us, saying, when you come to the land, do not seek together and the father commanded him, saying, when you come to the city, do not enter together at one gate on account of the inhabitants of the land. So Jacob told him to split up. And Joseph again answered them, saying, that is the thing which I spoke unto you. You have come to spy throughout the land. Therefore, all you come through 10 gates of the city, and have come to see the nakedness of the land. Surely every one that cometh to buy corn goeth his way. And you are already 3 days in the land.